Boom, 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 boom. Now tell me what you gonna do, but it ain't nowhere to run. When judgment comes for you, when judgment comes for you, tell me what you gonna do, when it ain't nowhere to hide. When judgment comes for you, 'cause it's gonna come for you.
Making it for water, easy, see something Charlie. Little boo guy's got him, and I'm gonna miss everybody out of row and flow like I ain't looked at a while. And pray for dust, and they play too deep for being sad. Little legs I got to be. Tell me your feature deceased, would it please? Marry me by my grand, when you can go follow
God bless you, working on the plan to heaven. Follow the Lord on 24/7.
Backbone Wrestling Network. Welcome back to the CrosUp, your weekly look back at the week that was in professional wrestling. This week I'll be running through the results and happenings from Raw on August the 11th to Collision on August the 16th, as well as the TNA Emergence pay-per-view special event, whatever you would like to call it. But we will start with Raw as per usual. We open with a long recap of last week's show with Seth Rollins and The Vision standing tall over LA Knight, Roman Reigns, and CM Punk, really taking out Roman Reigns, and Bronson Reed once again stealing his shoes that he's been doing lately with the Shula Fala and the Tribal Thief thing that he's been having going on lately. So, yeah, they just kind of show that attack again. I would say Roman's probably out for a good bit until maybe a War Games type situation, just because he got tsunami over and over again. But we open with commentary telling us that Naomi is going to be out tonight. She was supposed to defend the women's world title against Io Sky, but they don't really make reference to when she may be back or what's really wrong, if she's injured or whatever. Rumors floating around that she may be with child. So congratulations if that's the case. But if she's hurt, then obviously, hopefully she recovers fairly quickly, because she's having one of the best runs of her career. But whatever the case is, congrats or best of luck recovering. So we'll see what ends up happening with that. But we start the show proper with CM Punk coming out. He talks about how he has Seth Rollins' problem. Rollins is trying to be Punk, but can't make it work. He should be the world champion like he was at SummerSlam. Punk is going to be champion once again, and he's going to be the one that takes it from Seth Rollins. That's not all, though, as he is going to break Rollins' legs in the process. So really threatening some real damage to Rollins there. But once after he says that, LA Knight comes out. He shakes Punk's hand. Says last week Punk got involved in his title match. Knight is great with Punk, getting revenge on Rollins, but he needs to get it after the bell rings when LA Knight is in there fighting for a title. Punk can have his rematch, though. Is it going to have to come after LA Knight gets his, because he wants his rematch from last week, because he didn't get pinned, and he's pinned Rollins more recently than anybody else. Punk thinks the words Knight are looking for are thank you for last week, as he was about to get his head stomped into the concrete and smashed like a coconut. Punk points out that Knight isn't a former world champion like he is. Knight says that, as Punk has said before, there are levels to this, and Punk isn't on his. He wants to keep the two of them, everything between the two of them, problem free. So he's going to do Punk two favors. He's going to forget what happened last week, and then he is going to win the world title and make Punk his first successful title defense once he wins the championship. Punk is willing to keep things cordial as well, because he is the best in the world. But Paul Heyman comes out before he can continue his statement, and Punk even says, "I wasn't done," as Heyman starts to come out. Heyman with Reed and Breaker he speaks a few words in French because they are in Quebec. He warns Knight not to get into the favor sharing business with CM Punk, because it could cost you all kinds of things, from half of your life to your tribal chief. But Punk cuts him off for a change. He kind of cuts Heyman off while he's talking. Punk offers to fight either of them tonight, and then we have a challenge kind of made for a tag match, and Punk accepts on him and LA Knight's behalf, which kind of makes LA Knight mad, but then he realizes, yeah, I'd like to kick these guys' ass too. So that'll be our big main event for the night. We then look back at the three El Grande Americanos helping Dominic Mysterio win his match last week against Dragon Lee. We then get El Grande Americano. He comes into the Judgment Day Clubhouse with Dom. Finn takes Dom aside and suggests that they could use Americano to help Dom win the mega title at Triple Mania that happened this weekend, as they are two of the three challengers to Vikingo's mega championship. Dom likes the idea and tells Americano that they need to get to the ring as they have a tag team match. They then go to the ring, and Americano and Dom defeat AJ Styles and Dragon Lee when Mysterio loads his mask that he's been wearing lately, kind of just randomly in his matches, and he headbutts AJ with the loaded mask with the steel plate that Americano has been known to use in the past. And after he does the loaded mask, Americano actually gets the pin and rolls up AJ. We then get Sami Zayn. He is meeting with Adam Pearce. Adam Pearce says there might be some world title discussions if Sami Zayn is able to defeat Rusev tonight. Sheamus comes in, though, and says and is told that he and Rusev can't break things down like they did last week and destroy each other. Sheamus says that doesn't work for him, but Zayn asked him to do it as a friend. Sheamus agrees to stay out of the match, but he says the second the match is over, Rusev is his. We then get Io Sky. She is disappointed with not getting her women's world title match tonight against Naomi. Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez then come in and say Io Sky can't lose, or it just means Io Sky can't lose again. Sky says she can fight Roxanne instead, and Pierce kind of comes in and makes the match official. We then get Sami Zayn defeating Rusev via DQ when Solo Sikoa and his MFTs come out and attack Sami for what they did, what Sami did to them on SmackDown last week. After the match, Sami continues getting beaten down until the refs break it up, and then Sheamus comes in and jumps Rusev, and they brawl kind of into the crowd and all around the place once again. And then after the commercial break, the MFTs are ejected from the building, with Adam Pearce calling Nick Aldis to yell at him for allowing his superstars to come over here and interrupt and mess up his show. New Day and Grayson Waller then come in to complain about Penta wrecking Xavier Woods' hat from last week. Penta should be banned from wearing all hats, apparently. Pearce doesn't have time for this, so he's going to make Penta versus Xavier Woods for next week, so Woods can get his revenge that he wants so dearly. Bronson Reed then comes in and talks about earning Seth Rollins' respect, which he earned, which earned his way into the Vision. He's taken out Roman Reigns and promises to do it again and add to his collection until Roman Reigns acknowledges the tribal fief. The Kabuki Warriors then come in and they offer to keep things even for Io Sky with her match versus Roxanne, but Io politely declines and says she has this handled. We then get that match, and Roxanne actually defeats Io via pinfall with a roll-up after Io accidentally runs into the Kabuki Warriors, whom, like I just said, she had told to stay in the back, but they did not listen, so problems afoot maybe with the Kabuki Warriors, the former Damage Control group. But we'll see where that kind of goes, if they're going to turn Kairi and Asuka heel against Io, but we'll see as we continue to go on. We then get Jey Uso in the back. He says he wants his world title rematch as well. But LA Knight comes in and interrupts him, saying the line starts behind LA Knight, and Jey doesn't seem to buy that idea. So we'll see if Jey gets involved in the tag team match later on in the show. Io Sky then comes in and yells at the Kabuki Warriors, with Asuka shoving her away and leaving, and Kairi not being able to really respond to either of them, as she kind of seems to keep the peace, but Asuka seems to be pretty pissed about the whole thing. So we then get Becky Lynch defeating Maxine Dupree via submission with the disarmor. After the match, Natalya comes in to check on Dupree and gets kicked down by Lynch. So kind of sets up a match between those two this week on Raw that will be coming up. We then get Seth Rollins. He gives Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed a pep talk before the main event, telling them to stack some bodies because he is out of this dump. He is leaving the arena right now. He's not even going to stay to watch their match. He trusts that they'll do what they need to do. We then get a kind of a weird, creepy vignette for Bailey. She isn't sure why she has reached this point in her career because everything she has done has pretty much gotten her nowhere. And she seems to be having some kind of mental breakdown through all of this. So it was real like she's about to maybe turn heel and go into like this crazy kind of desperation mode version of herself. So we then get Lyra Valkyria's kind of reaction to that. She says she isn't taking blame for what's happening to Bailey because Bailey is the one that messed her up and got involved in her match. So she doesn't care if, Bailey's losing her mind or having a hard time. We then get Stephanie Vicaire. She offers her apologies to Io Sky. Vicaire then leaves and Rhea Ripley comes in and Io Sky tells her to stay out of her business. And then we get our main event where LA Knight and CM Punk defeat Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker, but it's by DQ because Seth Rollins didn't really leave, comes in and attacks Punk. After the match, they continue to beat him down. Jey Uso then comes in with a chair to kind of even the odds. Adam Pearce then comes out and says he sees what Rollins did to this opportunity, and that opportunity and then he's going to provide him an opportunity, and that opportunity will be defending the world title at Clash in Paris against Jey Uso, LA Knight, and CM Punk in a fatal four-way. Jey, Punk, and LA Knight then kind of start getting into a shoving match, and this allows the Vision to come back down and beat them down, and Rollins continues to beat down Punk, and that kind of ends the show. So the Vision once again stands tall. Seems to be the pretty regular way that we're ending Raw lately, with those guys standing tall to kind of end the show. So, but yeah, solid episode of Raw. Roxanne and Io would be my match of the night for Raw, because really anytime Io gets a match, she's kind of one of those people, kind of like your Ospreys, your Fletchers, your those are a couple of guys that I know if they usually have a match, I can almost guarantee you they're going to be in contention for match of the night, if not match of the night for sure. So Io's one of those that's kind of gotten to that level. So really good stuff from them. We will go on to NXT from there. Ava runs into Hank and Tank in the parking lot and asks them not to interfere in Dark State's match later on. Hank and Tank, obviously being the faces that they are, promise that they won't get involved until after things have kind of broken down. We open with our first match. We get Nia Jax defeating Lash Legend after hitting 2 Annihilators. The first one was kind of a reversal of like a sunset power bomb, and she just kind of falls on her, and then she obviously sets up and hits the second one. We then get Dark State. They're ready to fight against 4 main eventers because that is their thing. The head is being cut off the snake tonight, and they are coming for the tag team titles. We then get Chelsea Green and her Secret Harvest. They run into various people backstage from Evolve and the NXT roster, and they aren't impressed. But it does set up a match with Kendall Gray for tonight against Alba Fire. Hank and Tank then run in. They're dressed in costumes. They do this throughout the night. They're kind of dressed up in different kind of jobs and stuff. But Stevie Turner runs them off from getting involved in anything. We then get Joe Hendry defeating Charlie Dempsey via pinfall following the standing ovation. Lola Vice and Kalani Jordan are then shown warming up backstage, with Vice being ready for a match at Triple Mania. Jada Parker comes in and says that she's next for the women's title, but the other two are focused on their tag team match with Fatal Influence tonight. We then get Josh Briggs comes out. He doesn't care about the fans booing him. He's not happy with Yoshiki Inamura coming back to NXT and working on his own. Inamura is all about honor, so let's put that honor on the line next week in a Philadelphia street fight. Inamura then comes out and calls him a jackass and says the honor will be him beating Briggs next week. They start to brawl with both of them going up, and Inamura chopping him onto security. Inamura then hits a dive of his own and pretty much takes everybody out, Briggs and all the security guards that had come out. We get a sit-down interview with Jordan Grace. She is out of action, obviously, with her neck injury. Grace says that Blake Monroe is right in that she has never been comfortable with herself. She always feels like an outsider, and she let her guard down a bit with Monroe, which is her own fault. Grace isn't happy with what she has done, but she is ready to prove that she is strong in another way. At Heatwave, she is silencing the bully and proving that she is championship material. We then get Blake Monroe, kind of, I guess she has just watched this. She's in Ava's office, and Ava actually gives Blake a match tonight, and Monroe accuses her of being biased towards Jordan Grace since she has to compete and Jordan doesn't. We look at JC Jane's recent actions in TNA. Fatal Influence says they aren't worried about all the women coming after JC's titles, though JC isn't thrilled with Jasmine Nix getting them into a tag team match tonight. We then see TNA's Ash by Elegance and Masha Slamovich arriving, with JC Jane not approving. Laney Reed then comes in to tell Fatal Influence good luck. So I think we might be getting like a switcheroo here. We might be getting Jasmine kind of kicked out for Laney. So we might get a new member and a member kicked out. So we'll see if we'll continue to track that, see what that kind of happens with there. We then get Obafemi with his tag team partners for tonight. He's rallying the troops before their big tag match. Everyone but Trick Williams seems to be on the same page. Hank and Tank, dressed as exterminators, come in, but this time they are chased off by Mr. Stone. So we'll see how the main event fellas end up in the match later tonight. Kalani Jordan and Lola Vice then defeat Fatal Influence. That was Fallon and JC when Kalani hits the one of a kind and actually pins JC. So Kalani has a gripe to maybe be the next to be in line for the NXT championship. Jasper Troy then cuts a promo, says no one is protecting Ricky Saints and pain is coming his way. We then get Alba Fire defeating Kendall Gray via pinfall following the Gory Bomb. After the match, Ethan Page gets in the ring and asks if this is the best America has to offer. Tavion Heights comes in to yell at Ethan Page, and he has Tyra May Steele, the winner of the first season of LFG, in tow, and they come in for some German suplexes, and she actually even hits one on Ethan Page. So, yeah. We'll see that mixed tag at some point. I'm sure Tavion and Tyra versus Ethan Page and Chelsea Green. So we then go to the back. JC Jane is banged up after the match, but things even get worse when Ava comes in and tells her that Santino Marella put her in a triple threat match for the Knockouts title at Heatwave against Masha Slamovich and Ash by Elegance. Personal Concierge comes in and is very pleased with Ava also putting Fatal Influence in a 6-woman tag against the Elegance brand next week on NXT. We then cut to Chelsea Green. She isn't happy with Ethan Page, who blames the Mr. and Mrs. Olympics on him. The solution is clear. They need to have a treaty between Canada and the United States. We then get our main event where Dark State defeats Obafemi, Moose, Trick Williams, and Javon Evans when Dark State hits their slingshot powerbomb kind of quadruple team finisher on Javon. Hank and Tank then come out afterwards and brawl with Dark State to end the show. The women's tag from kind of earlier in the show was probably my match of the night. That main event match with all the main eventers was pretty good, but it was kind of a chaotic, a little bit of a mess at times, and was really more about the inner turmoil between the kind of main event team. But we will move from there to Dynamite. MJF and Hangman Page come to do a face-to-face in the ring. MJF says that Hangman Page is the main character and he is the main antagonist of AEW. He wants Page to be as angry as possible, and the only reason Page is still standing is MJF hasn't broken him yet. Page doesn't like being called Seabiscuit and brings up that it kind of calls Max a moron for not knowing that Seabiscuit actually wins in the end. So I'm guessing MJF was more going at the idea that he's a horse and he probably got put away in the end, really. But Seabiscuit wins the race, I think, is kind of what Hangman was trying to point out. He wants MJF to execute the contract already, like a real man would. MJF says Page is the real problem, even if people treat him like he's perfect. Page can't be all good, and MJF is planning to expose him as a weak-minded, depressed, alcoholic little boy. The difference is that MJF is real, and he is going to crucify Hangman That doesn't work for Hangman, who knows his faults like no one else. If MJF wants to talk about Forbidden Door, he can use the contract he has to take his shot, but he's just too afraid. MJF should know that AEW is all about going all in, so prove that he is not just a scared little boy, and that is finally enough for MJF to agree to execute the contract from the Casino Battle Royal that he won to have a match at Forbidden Door for the AEW World Title. And that kind of ends the segment. We then recap Darby Allin challenging Jon Moxley for Forbidden Door. Moxley arrives with the rest of the Death Riders and says Allin thinks, or whatever Allin thinks is happening, isn't what is actually happening. We then get Jon Moxley defeating Kevin Knight via technical submission when he has Knight in a choke and Knight passes out. After the match, the choke stays on, so Speedball comes in to make the save, earning himself a beating. Darby Allin then comes with a body bag and a skateboard for the save. Wheeler Yuta is put in the body bag, but Moxley actually breaks that up before he can get him zipped in there. Allin is then put in the body bag, and Castagnoli hits him with a spinning torture rack slam. The heels then get a chair with Will Ospreay coming from the back to make the save. Ospreay says he and Moxley can both bring some friends to Forbidden Door for a lights-out steel cage match. We then get a 6-woman tag where Alex Windsor, Queen Aminata, Willow Nightingale all defeat Mercedes Moné, Tekla, and Sky Blue when Blue taps to Windsor's sharpshooter. After the match, Tony Storm and Athena come out and get into a brawl in the crowd, and the 6 in the ring continue to brawl as well. Athena and Storm wind up on the ramp with Storm fighting back and saying, "We can do this in Scotland." And Storm and Windsor kind of dance and celebrate in the ring to end the segment. Will Ospreay has been talking to some New Japan stars and can confirm that Hiroshi Tanahashi is going to be on his Lights Out Steel Cage team. And then as Renee Paquette is doing the interview, Ospreay asked to talk to her husband next week, so he wants a face-to-face with Mox. We then get Adam Copeland defeating Stokely Hathaway via disqualification when Cope gets powder thrown into his eyes by Stokely at some point. After the match, Cope gets beaten down until Christian Cage runs in with Spike, his little board with the nails on it, edges, and he runs in with that for the save. Nick Wayne tries to jump Christian Cage with a chair, but Cage uses Spike to knock it out of his hands. The fans seem into the idea that Christian is saving Cope, and then we actually get the big hug that we probably all anticipated was going to happen at some point. And they aren't going to quite, well, we don't know this yet, I guess, but as of this point, we don't know that they're not facing FTR at Forbidden Door, but we do get made later on in the show that Christian and Cope will be facing Kip Sabian and Nick Wayne at Forbidden Door. So I don't know if they kind of gave away who's going to win the tournament there, because, if they're not facing FTR, FTR is probably going to face the Hurt Syndicate for the tag titles, but we'll see. Not that I gave Brodito much chance of winning, but I would have given him some chance, but now I really don't give him many, if at all, chance at all. We then get a Hook vignette. We kind of see a New York skyline, and then we have the big H in the sky, kind of like the bat signal. So Hook is back on his way back to the company. We'll see what he kind of gets involved in, if he gets back with the Ops or kind of goes against them when he comes back. We then get Brody King, Hiromu Takahashi, Tomohiro Ishii, and Hologram defeating the Young Bucks and the Don Callis family, represented by Josh Alexander and Kyle Fletcher, when Takahashi hits the time bomb on Alexander for the win. Renee Paquette then brings out Swerve Strickland. They had some technical difficulties before this, so it took her a minute to get him out there, but Swerve won't say if he's medically cleared or not, because all he cares about is beating Kazuchika Okada. Okada comes in to say that Strickland has no chance. Strickland just asks the crowd whose house this is, so Okada calls him a bitch, like he always pretty much does to everybody else. And then security has to kind of break them up even though they don't really go at it all that much. They get broken up pretty quickly. Moxley is then told that Will Ospreay has Tanahashi for his Forbidden Door team. Moxley kind of questions this. He then goes to the jobber dressing room, which is kind of supposed to be a joke, and gets the Young Bucks and recruits them to be on his team. So they're making the Young Bucks dress in the jobber locker room. So pretty funny little quip there. We then get confirmed for Forbidden Door that, like I said, Cope and Christian Cage will face Nick Wayne and Kip Sabian of the Matriarchy. And then we officially get the members of the cage match. It is going to be the Death Riders of Castagnoli, Yuta, and Mox with Gabe Kidd and the Young Bucks. So that is 4 + 2. That's 6 people on that team. And then the other team is going to be Ospreay, Darby Allin, Tanahashi, Kenny Omega, and Kota Ibushi. So it might just be Mox and Castagnoli in that. I don't know if Yuta's involved or not, but it is going to be 5-on-5. So I counted 6 originally, but it's going to be 2 of the Death Riders, Gabe Kidd and the Young Bucks versus all those guys that have all pretty much wrestled in New Japan, other than maybe Darby, even though he might have done a tour or so in there as well. We then get the Ops defeating La Facción and Gobernables when Samoa Joe chokes out Dralistico with the Coquina Clutch. And then to end the show, MJF attacks Hangman Page in the parking lot and rams his head into a car door hood over and over again to end the show. The 8-man tag with Brody King, Takahashi, Ishii, and Hologram getting the win was my favorite and best match of the night. As I continue and usually say every week, they do those 6-man, 8-man kind of multi-man tag matches very, very well usually. And this one was no different. So Moose, we opened Impact, and Moose had been attacked in the back, and the system check on him, but then they hit the ring. They call out Trick and First Class as they think they're responsible. And it's time for a 6-man tag match. First Class and Trick Williams then defeat the system when Rich Swann rolls up Brian Myers and uses the rope for leverage. We then get Danny Luna and Indy Hartwell defeating Mila Grace and Harley Hudson. When Indy hits the Hertz Donut on Grace, they show some respect after the match, but Rosemary out of nowhere pops in the crowd and missed Hartwell as they're kind of walking to the back. So that sets up a kickoff show match for Emergence that I'll talk about later. I won't talk about that match, but I'll talk about Emergence later, but it happens on the pre-show. We then get Matt Cardona. He defeats John Skyler via pinfall following the radio silence. After the match, Order 4 jumps Cardona, and Mustafa Ali comes out to send Agent Zero to really put the big beat down on Cardona. We then get Jody Threat and Danny Luna checking on Indy Hartwell in the back, but then they obviously get into an argument being former teammates. Cardona is then looking for Mustafa Ali and says he's ready to face him in Emergence. Santino Marella then has a Knockouts Tag Team Summit. He brings out the Elegance brand, Lei Yingli as Brookside, the Inspiration, and Fatal Influence, with the brand bragging about their abilities and them being champions. Brookside promises a beating for everyone, and Fatal Influence promises to show NXT's superiority. Tension is teased, and a brawl breaks out in a hurry, with Dives taking out all the security and everybody else that tries to break up the fight around the ring. We then get Rosemary. She isn't happy with Indy Hartwell just strolling in here, so she made Hartwell as blind as Hartwell seems to be. We then get Steph DeLander and Mance Warner. They are annoyed at being suspended for having some quote-unquote personal time in Santino Marella's office last week. And Mance says nothing is keeping him out of TNA, even a suspension. We then get Mike Santana defeating Eric Young via pinfall following the spin the block clothesline. After the match, the Northern Armory jumps Santana, but Sami Callihan comes out and makes the save as they will be having a match at Emergence. Frankie Kazarian then hosts his King's Speech talk show. Kazarian brings out Jake Something and Steve Macklin, who are obviously facing each other at Emergence. Those are his guests. And Kaz even admits that this probably isn't going to go well. They go face-to-face, but Kazarian keeps telling them to keep from fighting and not destroying his set, which has Macklin telling Kazarian to shut up. Macklin then goes after Kazarian, but he turns around and walks into the end of the void, which is Jake Something's Black Hole Slam, to kind of leave him laying. We then get Sami Callihan. He says he's done if he doesn't win an Emergence. Eddie Edwards comes in and says he wants the real Sami Callihan to come out there one more time and really give it to Mike Santana in that match. And then we got our main event match where the Rascals and Cedric Alexander defeat Leon Slater and the Hardy Boys when Alexander hits the lumbar check on Slater, cementing that he will face Slater for the X Division title at Emergence. And the Rascals will actually be challenging the Hardys for the tag titles as well. So they kind of have all 6 of them kind of have a stare down to end the show. But that was the best match for me, the main event, the tag team match. As you can tell, I'm a really big fan of tag team wrestling. So when it's done well, it's some of the best stuff that there is. So, but we'll go from there to SmackDown. Solo Sikoa and the MFTs come out to cut a promo to start things. Sikoa makes it clear that they run SmackDown, and if you don't like it, well, that's just too bad. Last week, Sami Zayn showed up and attacked them, which is why he got a beating on Raw. Same thing happened to Jimmy Uso and Jacob Fatu. So if anyone wants to come out here and do something about it, and before he can really get anything else out, Sami Zayn comes out to interrupt, says he's here to talk about he's here to talk because he wants to win the Royal Rumble. If he had beaten Rusev on Raw, that could have been in the cards. Then the team attacked him, and he wants to say thank you. Aside from the world title, the only title he has never won around here is the United States title. Sikoa says that isn't changing anytime soon, so go back to Raw. Sami Zayn laughs that off because he is now officially a member of the SmackDown roster. They start to battle with the MFTs beating Sami down, of course, but Jimmy Uso and Jacob Fatu run in for the save. Nick Aldis wastes no time in coming out to make the 6-man main event for later on tonight. We then get Chelsea Green and the Secret Hervis. They are not happy with last week's cake fiasco because it was very, very dangerous and could have gone much worse. We then get Alexa Bliss defeating Piper Niven via pinfall with a roll-up following some interference from each team on the outside. After the match, the beatdown is on with Charlotte being taken out on the outside, and Bliss gets crushed with Niven's Vader Bomb to leave her laying on the ground, or in the ring, to end that kind of segment. We then get Jade Cargill and Tiffany Stratton. They argue until Nia Jax comes in and interrupts. Stratton isn't scared of either of them, tells them to bring it on because the outcome will still be the same with her ending up on top. We then get Mello Don't Miz defeating Fraxium when Miz hits the skull-crushing finale on Frazier. We go to the back, and Kiana James comes up to Tiffany Stratton and suggests that Julia may want a shot at her title. Stratton isn't impressed, but Michin comes in to say she's coming after Julia instead of Julia going after anyone else. We then get Drew McIntyre out to cut a promo. We get shown the attack of Cody Rhodes last week, but McIntyre makes it clear that he did not attack him. There is no medical update on Cody, and it might be due to WWE not wanting to admit that the Golden Boy is damaged. 5 years ago, McIntyre was Rhodes, but he knows the fans will forget him. Now he wants the title because of the paychecks it brings. The reality is that Cody attacked him, and McIntyre goes outside to recap what happened. Rhodes even cleared off the announce table. Why else was he going to do that? Was he going to do the fashion me a fine cuisine? He asked if he's going to fashion him a fine cuisine. McIntyre says if he's provoked, he is the real nightmare, as Cody's obviously the American Nightmare, but he says he's going to be the real problem if you fuck with him. So the Street Profits and B-Fab then are ready for DIY, but Solo Sikoa and the MFTs interrupt. Sikoa says they're coming for the titles, but Montez Ford says the Profits are coming for the smoke. Talatanga is then distracted by something, and a large bunny is randomly behind them. It was very, very weird. We then get the Street Profits defeating DIY when Montez Ford hits Tommaso Ciampa with a series of moves and ends things with a frog splash. Carmelo Hayes and The Miz are then in the back. Carmelo's trying to get a U.S. title shot, but the Motor City Machine Guns are talking to talking to Nick Aldis before that. And the Miz comes in and kind of interrupts and wants a tag title shot anyways. The Motor City Machine Guns accuse Miz of manipulating Carmelo. They kind of argue back and forth, and Aldis makes a tag team match for the four of them next week. We then look back at John Cena and Logan Paul's argument from last week, setting up their match with Clash in Paris. R-Truth is glad to have his childhood hero, John Cena, back, but Aleister Black comes in and doesn't like that R-Truth is continuing to get face time. They kind of go face to face, and R-Truth kind of suddenly gets a little bit more serious to show that he's maybe not completely goofy like he used to be, and that Ron Killings, that kind of darker side of him still exists in his bones. Sami Zayn and Jimmy Uso then say it's like old times, but Jacob Fatu doesn't know anything about Zayn and doesn't seem to want to. But they are successful as Sammy, Jimmy, and Jacob defeat the MFTs represented by Sikoa, Mateo, and Tongaloa when Sammy again pins Solo Sikoa, this time with the Haluva kick. The Profits and DIY was our match of the night for SmackDown. The main event match was also pretty good as well, but I would give the heads up to the DIY match on that one. We then go to Emergence, which was that the same night as SmackDown. Leon Slater defeats Cedric Alexander to get things going to retain his X Division Championship. He wins via pinfall with the Swanton 450, and they shake hands and show some respect after the match. We then get Trick Williams in First Class. They're both ready to win their matches tonight. We then get Matt Cardona defeating Mustafa Ali via pinfall after avoiding a 450 and surprising Ali with a crucifix pin. After the match, Agent Zero comes in and lays Cardona out, but the System come in and make the save. The System then have the next match where First Class actually defeats them when Agent Zero comes back out and attacks Eddie Edwards. And this allows Francis to finish him off with a chokeslam. Mike Santana then defeats Sami Callihan via pinfall following the spin the block. With this loss, Sami agreed to retire from Impact Wrestling. He, like I said last week, he's kind of taking on more of a backstage role anyways. But he officially retires here, leaves his boots in the ring. He heads to the back, and he gets a lot of applause from most of the roster, but Eric Young comes in and yells at him. Joe Hendry then gets in Eric Young's face, and they seem to have some tension that they will probably blow off at a later date. Ryan Nemeth then comes in and talks about his big brother coming back, and they will be getting their rematch for the tag team titles against the Hardys. We then get the Elegance brand retaining their women's tag team titles against the Inspiration, Fatal Influence, and Lei Ying Lee and Zaya Brookside when Jessie McKay gets hit with one of the belts and M by Elegance steals the pin and retains the titles, like I said. Indy Hartwell, who beat Rosemary on the pre-show, wants the Knockouts title, and thanks Danny Luna for helping her. But she has this going forward and doesn't need her help. We then get Steve Macklin. He defeats Jake Something, retaining his international title via pinfall following the KIA. After the match, Macklin praises Something, gets into an argument with Frankie Kazarian, who was on commentary, and tells Kazarian anytime he wants to face him, come get some. We then get the Hardys defeating the Rascals when Matt hits the Twist of Fate on the floor on Myron Reed, and then rolls him back in for Jeff to hit the Swanton to finish things off. We then get an impromptu First Class Penthouse. They both put over Maryland, which they're in Baltimore. It's Swan's hometown, and Francis went to the University of Maryland and played football. Says their best successes were when they left Maryland, though. The Baltimore Ravens mascot comes out, and the System also comes out of the back to kind of back him up. Alicia Edwards goes through all her regular stuff. Do you want to know something? All that stuff. But AJ Francis luckily cuts her off. That was one of the few times I'm glad to hear AJ Francis talk. And she slaps the shit out of him, and Francis and Rich Swann kind of run off to end the segment. And then the main event, Trick Williams defeats Moose via pinfall following 3 trick shots. After the match, President Carlos Silva has to present Trick Williams with the TNA title, And then Trick kind of celebrates to end the show, does the hold Hollywood Hogan kind of guitar playing on the TNA World Title. So Trick escapes once again. We'll see who eventually beats him. Obviously, I kind of implied that I think it's going to happen at Bound for Glory eventually. But we'll see who it is and how we get there. But Alexander and Slater, the opener was my favorite match. The Cedric and Leon in the X Division title match. I thought it was definitely best match of the night. Really good opener, really solid way to open the show. But we will go from there to Collision to wrap up the week. We get Toni Storm out to start the show. She praises Athena as a history-breaking woman, but holy shit, is she annoying. She says, how many nicknames does someone need? She is called the American Joshi, meaning neither country has accepted her, Japan or America. She's also called the Fallen Goddess, meaning that the good Lord himself took one look at her and said, man, you're amazing, but holy shit, are you annoying. However, if Athena is a goddess, Storm better pray. Dear fallen goddess Athena, I pray that you will be leaving London on a budget airline with my ass print on your face. Athena then comes in and brawls with Billy Starks coming in to help beat down Storm as well. Athena promises to expose Storm as nothing but a bunch of sexual innuendos. She mocks Storm's pose, but Mina Shirakawa, who is Toni Storm's good buddy, comes in, and actually Mina will be facing Athena for the ROH title at, I think, Death Before Dishonor is the name of the show that's about to happen. But Athena kind of runs away once Mina kind of comes out and gets involved. So she needs some security protection at that point. We didn't get video of all the Hangman Page versus MJF stuff that happened on Dynamite. We then get the Death Riders represented by Yuta and Mox defeating Jet Speed when Yuta low blows Kevin Knight while he's distracted by Mox and Speedball fighting on the outside, and Yuta rolls Knight up off of the low blow. We then get the Outrunners. They have a vignette. They are trying to get back in touch with Brother Nature instead of Mother Nature, obviously. We then get the AEW debut of Ace Austin. He takes a loss to Ricochet via pinfall following the Spirit Gun. Hurt Syndicate are in the back getting interviewed. They're all in matching shirts and hats. They are ready to hurt either team that ends up winning the tournament, Brodito or FTR. We then get Paragon. They are ready, which is Roddy Strong and Kyle O'Reilly. They are ready to get back to the ring with Roderick Strong wanting revenge on Kyle Fletcher for injuring Adam Cole. Ishii and Hologram, who are both in the conglomeration or were with Kyle O'Reilly, they come in and seem to approve of them going after the Don Callis family. Paragon then defeats Lee Johnson and Blake Christian when they hit the high-low on Blake Christian. After the match, Ishii and Hologram come in to celebrate, but Roddy Strong seems to be kind of in his own zone. He leaves. He doesn't seem pissed, but he's just in the zone and really wants to get revenge on Don Callis' family and Kyle Fletcher, to be specific. But O'Reilly says he'll call the other two when he talks to Roddy about it. We then get FTR. They jump Brody King in the back and they brawl into the arena. King fights back, but Stokely Hathaway breaks up a cannonball attempt. He throws some powder to the eyes and sets up the shatter machine. Hathaway, with his arm in a sling, gets a Bandito mask from the crowd or something like that, and kind of puts it on, and then they lay out Brody King. We then get Skyflight. They issue a challenge to the Don Callis family for next week. They don't care if it's a singles, tag, trio, with Layla Gray promising to fuck Don Callis up personally. We then get Chris Statlander. She defeats Anna Jay, Julia Hart, and Penelope Ford when she gets Hart to tap to a head scissors choke. Statlander wins $100,000 with this victory. After the match, the rest of the Triangle of Madness come in and beat down, triggering a bunch of run-ins for beatdowns. Harley Cameron is the one that runs in and chases all the heels off to end the segment. The Don Callis family is ready for Hiromu Takahashi at Forbidden Door they're ready for him when it comes to that show. They see and says they'll see Skyflight on Dynamite as well. Chris Statlander's in the back. She's happy with her win, and Harley Cameron runs in to celebrate with her. The Death Riders then come in with Moxley saying, "Damn right," and Chris Statlander continuing to ignore Wheeler Yuta and his advances or his advice that he continues to keep giving her. Juice Robinson then defeats Brian Keith via pinfall following a DDT. Anthony Bowens is then interviewed by Renee Paquette and yells at her for continuing to ask about Max Caster. Why is he always hearing that chant and about him when all Caster does is lose? And then we get our main event where Nigel McGuinness defeats Daniel Garcia, Lee Moriarty, and Hinchicero when he gets Moriarty to tap to the London Dungeon. This earns him a title shot at Zack Sabre Jr.'s IWGP World Title at Forbidden Door. Danny Garcia seems really upset after the match, and that doesn't seem to bode well for Nigel, as Nigel asks him to be in his corner for his match at Forbidden Door. McGuinness says this is a dream match and asks for some adulation from Garcia. And like I said, he asked him to be in his corner, with Garcia accepting to end the show. But odds are that that's probably not going to end too well for old Nigel. But that match was really, really good. Definitely check it out. Probably match of the week. If I had to give a TV match match of the week, it was just really well done. 3 or 4 really good guys, especially when you can get Nigel in there nowadays. Obviously doesn't have his fastball quite like he used to, but still a very, very talented and good wrestler. But that'll wrap it up for the week. That was Collision wrapping up the week. We should have Forbidden Door next week. I want to say Heatwave is actually next week as well. So 2 big shows next week. We'll get into those. I can't remember exactly what day of the week those are on, so that may either be on next week's episode or the week after. We'll see when we kind of get around to there. But thank you for joining me as always, and we will see you next week.